pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is public comment limited to agenda items only, and before we open it up for that, I would remind everyone that public comment is limited to residents / taxpayers of the borough of Littlestown. Also, I would like to remind everyone in the audience that comments are to be directed to the council. There's not to be any comments directed back and forth between members of the audience, please. All right, that being said, we'll open it up for public comment for agenda items only at this time. And if you have a comment to make, your name and address, please.
This is Suzanne Johnson. I live over in the Appler community. And I noticed that you were going to talk about technology, and I think it's in this room. So, and it's probably related to maybe recording of meetings. And I just wanted to mention that the community media of South Central PA, who was at the library, I guess last week, that does public broadcasting, that's a nonprofit. They also do live streaming of several area council meetings, so I don't know if this has been considered by the council as a possible cost-saving measure. They live stream meetings like Carroll Valley Borough Council, McSherrystown Borough Council, Gettysburg, Hamilton Township, Conewago Township. So I don't know if the council has considered that option and whether that might offer some live streaming services at some discount. So I just wanted to mention that. It's called Community Media of South Central PA. They have a Facebook page and a website. And like I said, they do it for other local councils. So it's something to consider.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Sure.
All right. Okay, then we will move along to the next agenda item, which is approval. First item is approval of the October 8th council meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes.
I make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Second item was an amendment to the September 10th meeting minutes. Sandy, do you want to highlight what that was?
I can. I received an email from Susan that had pointed out that I did not mention in the public comment. I'm sorry, I forgot my glasses, so if you see me scooting stuff further away from me. In the public comment of the letter that I read, I did explain to her that it was an honest overlook on my site, on my part. Unfortunately, when I was reading the letter, I was, of course, didn't put it in my notes, and I didn't do the minutes until a few days afterwards. But neither here nor there. It was public comment. So we need to approve the amendment to the September 10th meeting. And I did attach the actual amendment. I don't know, Chuck, if you want to read it. Or I'll be like...
Corrections, September 10th, 2024 minutes. September 10th minutes did not include a letter from Littlestown Watchdog Group read by secretary. Therefore, minutes will need to be amended as follows. A motion to amend the September 10th, 2024 minutes to add a section public comment for a non-agenda item, which was to state the borough secretary read a letter submitted by the Littlestown Watchdogs, which in summary was calling for crucial improvements in how meetings are conducted and shared with the community. The letter is asking the council and school board meetings to be streamed online, made easily acceptable to all residents. The letter further stated that the Littlestown Watchdogs want to ensure that the borough and school board meeting comply with the American Disabilities Act. Borough Secretary Conrad responded to the Borough Council has discussed the option streaming their meeting. However, the media forum has not been determined. The council is not opposed to this. It will just take some time because they will have their own meeting space to be able to have permanent equipment installed.
So that's the amendment to
Thank
the
you.
September 10th.
All right, so I will entertain a motion for approval of the amendment to the September 10th, 2024 meeting minutes as just read by the borough manager.
I make that motion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next agenda item is finances. I will entertain a motion for approval of the payables from October 4th, 2024 to October 16th, 2024 in the amount of $505,867.10.
I make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Next item is approval of the payroll from October 4th, 2024 to October 16th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the payroll in the amount of $60,026.72.
I make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item is under new business, and it is some research done by the Borough Secretary Treasurer on the technology quotes for this building. Sandy, you want to brief them beyond what you've already sent us?
Yeah, so the technology quote is to get equipment, video equipment, and it would be through CoStars, to put in this office here in the meeting room. It would consist of camera, speaker, a few other things. And the cost would be, for the equipment, would be $4,957. B also goes along with it. We would have a company come in to install, and they would also have material and labor and the setup of the video equipment. They would have to run all the wiring. There would be like a display TV behind council that would be included in this quote also, and to hook everything up. Hold on, let me get to it. And this would be, the material and labor is $8,343 if council wishes to move forward. I do believe Chuck has some comments that he would like to make on it.
Yeah, there's a couple issues that we need to be concerned about. And, I'm not saying this would stop this project in any way, shape, or form, but a couple things. They put out, and I talked to council today, and I don't know, she's not here tonight, so I can't ask her really what their intentions are, but as you're well aware, in the newsletter, and I don't know whether this has been filed, I haven't received anything, but apparently.
In the newsletter,
Watchdogs.
Okay.
And it mentions the borough as well as the school district, and in their comments, they have said that they have filed additional, which would be litigation. And I'll just, unfortunately, there was no response in this exchange, and I'm thinking that may have been with the school district, but in here they're mentioning both the borough of Littlestown and Littlestown School District. Therefore, no progress was taken. The steps, the Littlestown Watchdogs had filed official complaints with PA American Civil Liberties Union and the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. These complaints center on failure to provide equal access to participation in the meeting under ADA Title II, which guarantees equal access to public service, participation in government, and there's a line through this, it's kind of hard to read. Later this week, we plan to begin complaints process with, and I believe this would be for the school district, because this doesn't really apply to us. U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights and the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, and that could apply to us. That being said, I talked to counsel today, legal counsel that represents things as far as Title II and Title VII as it relates to the ADA. My recommendation would be that they're going to review and get back to us exactly what we're required to do, so we don't spend a lot of money and end up in litigation on something that we necessarily don't have to do that. If civil litigation is filed, which they're saying they made complaints, so I don't know whether it's for the borough or the school. Do you know?
School district.
Okay, you have it, it both mentions the borough too, but it doesn't say, I haven't received any.
As far as I'm aware, it's as of right now, it's just the school district.
Okay.
Thank you.
That being said, these types of violations are played out in Middle District of Pennsylvania, which is federal court in Harrisburg. To defend those types of litigation are extremely expensive. And I don't want us to do something that is not exactly right, that we end up spending a lot of money and end up in litigation. I mean, if you go to trial, average federal trial, if it goes through the court process, is $100,000. So we don't want to do that. So I would rather have exactly what we're required to do from our legal counsel under Title II and Title VII, and then we put in the system that we feel, the council feels it's appropriate and what they want to spend the money on. They will provide us with the information of what actually we're required to do, because it does in fact get expensive. We did, while I'm on that, and why I say that, if you recall, the AG's office received a complaint, was filed during this last, on the charitable trusts, and we had to hire legal counsel for that, because in that complaint, it accused us, and that was filed by Nicole. I'm trying to think of her last name.
Nicole Trosick.
Yeah, Nicole Trosick. And one of the things that they had accused us of is misrepresentation of funds and misappropriation of funds, which is basically a crime. We provided everything. We obviously, since that is a crime, if that would have panned out, we would have had to have legal representation. So in order to provide that information, all that stuff has to go through attorneys. And once Todd did some of it, another law firm did some of it, and it generates quite the expense. The man hours and everything, just for that, and the complaints filed with DEP, and the additional testing that we had to do cost us about $23,000. So that's why I say we move cautiously when anybody's threatening litigation or anything. Sure. And that being said, I did receive a letter from the Attorney General's office that they did a complete review of all the documents that were filed by our attorneys and Sandy and the stuff that we were putting together, and PNC Bank, who actually manages that trust fund. We don't have anything to do with it. At this time, they found no improprieties, and the matter has been closed, and that is no longer an active investigation, and that's filed by Kyra Rouse, Deputy Attorney General, and I have a copy of that if anybody would like to see it. my recommendation that we table anything, purchase of anything, till we find out what exactly we have to buy, then we'll buy it.
So,
Do we need a motion for that?
I don't need a motion, no, I don't.
To table it, yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to table the information, or to table the purchase of the equipment that was outlined in the technology quote and quote for labor and materials previously mentioned.
Now, that will not stop, just so you know. We're also, because that won't change the wiring in the building. We're having MBI come in, and they're gonna start tracing the wires. So that work we can do, no matter what we put up.
Right.
We still need that wiring, and it's no use holding that up, so we can do it.
Do we need to make that contingent upon allowing that work to continue?
No,
Okay.
So Sandy, are we talking about just tabling the technology quote for now and then going ahead and asking for approval for the wiring quote?
Yes,
Okay.
because
So-
either way, we need the wiring.
All right. First order of business then is I'll entertain a motion to table the technology quote work that was highlighted in the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Okay. Next item then would be the quote for labor and material to install the wiring in the building and do the tracing, et cetera, that Sandy and Chuck mentioned, that will have to be done for moving in and setting up offices and so forth anyway. So I will entertain a motion to approve that quotation for labor and materials.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item is the well generator project contract number 2024-01, application for payment number 3. Chuck or Logan, anything to say on this?
that project is complete.
Yeah, we did a substantial completion walkthrough last week and found everything to be well in order. So this is the last application for payment here. We are holding some retainage for them to complete some minor items on a punch list. But I think everything's been going pretty smoothly with Monocacy. So, yeah, this will be the final typical work duration AFP, and then we'll have a closeout one at the next meeting, at the meeting at the end of November. But this is for $24,385.
I have a different number.
$24,664.50.
Right. That's the number I have, that we have, council has.
Hold on. Yeah, that's the number on the front of your letter, Logan.
$24,385.
That's for this, the substantial completion, and then the rest of it's for the punch list needs to be completed, correct?
Yeah, we're holding $12,450
That's
for
what,
punch
that's
list.
what matches.
So the amount we're approving is $24,385.
$24,385.
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the payment amount for that application for the well house generator project contract in the amount of $24,385.
I
And
make
50
that
cents.
motion.
I want to say,
And
I have
50.
to say thank you, and 50
And
cents.
50 cents.
I make that motion.
And 50 cents.
All right.
Sorry.
Need
It's
to
okay.
go right.
Yep.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. 2025 draft budget. Chuck, turn it over to you.
Okay, you all received a copy of the budget. And I probably I asked you to get your questions and met with some of you to answer some of your questions and provided answers. Has anybody found any other questions that they need specifically answered before I start?
No.
Okay. All right, if you look at it, I'm not gonna go through this line by line, we'll be here till midnight. we can just do general totals.
Let me just, before you do that, just as a reminder to folks that are here tonight, it's a working budget, it's not subject to the right to know. No part of this budget is to be shared with the public, that's for the council. And once the budget is tentatively adopted, it will be available to the public through the borough office.
When is that?
Sorry for interrupting you.
Okay, a real estate
When?
property, anticipated, we will get $1,603,514.71. Local Enabling Act, which covers earned income tax, per capita tax, real estate transfer tax, we anticipate $678,500. Business licenses and permits, cable television franchise, $28,887.98. Our fines, which is basically the police department's, $32,413.44. Interest earning, $1,215.90. Rents and royalties from cell towers, $64,163.97. Shared expenses, with fire company, workers' compensation, we'll get $12,783. CDBG, $101,825. Now, some of these, when you say that's money in the bank, that's actually money that comes in and goes out. There's for specific projects, that will be our, obviously, that pays for our programs. State shared revenue and entitlements, $194,000. Legal review fees, $7,000. Public safety, $8,950. Culture, recreation, banner program donations, $6,975. Miscellaneous, and that's your stuff that we get, a lot of it like DUI patrol, court, click it or ticket. That grant funded programs, they come out of the expenditures, but it's reimbursed through the various projects. In drug task force, $46,323.08. And then event donations, $6,120.68. And that is the general fund revenues. And the total of that is $2,793,580.77. Do you want me to read it like that, or just give you totals, or?
What's your preference, council? You all have seen it, you all have copies of it.
That's good.
Totals are fine.
Okay, the general fund expenses, I'll catch you off all this. I know what everybody's waiting for. There's no tax increase, so breathe easy. You know, what you
No,
got to
just
do.
water.
It is a balanced budget for the general fund budget expenditures. It's the same as the $2,793,580.77, and that is a balanced budget for the general fund. Stone Cipher Trust budget is $11,682. That's just what's basically in there. The revenues is $11,682. Expenditures would be $11,682, and that doesn't mean we're going to spend it. That means it's there, so it's a balanced budget. So whatever we could spend, we have that in there. That just gives you the total of what's in that budget. Fire protection tax fund revenue, that's $91,000, and that's basically just from the fire tax, correct? That one, and that actually just goes to the fire company once they provide the documentation required to get reimbursed. And the rec, same thing. $11,000 in the Ed and Rec Fund. Not saying we're gonna spend that, but we have 11,000 available, so we could spend 11,000 if need be. I don't anticipate that, so that money will remain in there until we need to use it on something for the parks. But that is balanced at $11,000. Water fund budget. Our revenues we expect to take in, and that's interest earnings, royalties from cell towers, water rents, connection fees, well generation fees, all that comes to $1,268,129.69. Expenditures, what we anticipated with our projects and some of our capital, well, it's not capital, but some things over $10,000, service contracts and things like that. And you have all that ahead of you. There's a million lines, I'm not reading all of them. But again, the expenditures anticipated is $1,268,129.69, and that is a balanced budget. And there are Christmas decorations. We have $29,400 in that.
I just wanna say, once that money is gone, it's gone.
Yeah, it's.
There's no more like that.
So you can buy $29,400 worth of multicolored Christmas tree balls.
Good.
The blue and gold are on sale though, Craig.
Yeah, I figured that's why we had blue and gold, speaking of the Littlestown area school district.
Apparently you're not a Notre Dame fan.
Schools, sales.
Sewer fund reserves, revenues, I'm sorry, $1,797,468. And sewer fund expenditures are the same, $1,797,438.66. And that will be some, well, you saw the interfund transfers that help fund our capital expenditures. That's what that last line is right before the total. ARPA checking fund balance budget. That's $473,550. We don't anticipate spending, $300,000. So we would have extra in that, but the expenditures would not exceed what we have in that budget. So it is a balanced budget.
Water and sewer, that's mandated by law, has to be, right? They have to balance.
Yeah, you want your
common
whole
expenditure.
budget to balance.
Yeah, well, I know, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Parking meter budget, that is what it is. We have $11,005 in it. And it's basically money generated, and all that does is pretty much repair the meters and do that kind of thing. We just did that, so I don't anticipate spending a lot of money over that, but the expenditures could go up to $11,005, which I don't anticipate, so that is balanced. Park and Recreation Fund balance, budget, revenues, this is a little increase this year, because obviously we have the DCNR grant coming in for $497,000. The grant, Selby Tree Grant and Pavilion Rentals, that's what it covers, all that. General donations from municipalities, donations from the Eagles. $550,658. The expenditures will not exceed that, $550,685, and that is balanced.